Hello, everybody. Welcome, everybody. My name is Mark Reed, and welcome to the Reading Room. This is the 20-something AIMBOT. I can't remember exactly what number I'm up to because I am. I didn't expect it to make it past a dozen or so, but you know, here we are, and this is fantastic, and I really want to thank you for joining me. This is and sorry for the delay. I had a comment come in that the intro was too loud, so I was kind of mucking around with it. I hope that was more acceptable sound levels for all of you. I'm sort of still getting a handle on things, so you know, let me know. Send your feedback. Might not agree with all of it, but I'm open to reading all of it. So I usually start these off, and this is AIMBOT. Am I morally bankrupt or them? So we're going to be going onto Reddit and reviewing some cases that people want judged. They want us to make a designation on whether they're good or bad or not. Couple of early things. Welcome to the membership, Hill Hugger, and welcome to the membership, Dennis Hoven, the Denisovian. Wow, that's a mouthful. Dennis Hoven, the Denisovian. So if you're wondering, Hovend is a Denisovian. Hey Tim, good to see you, mate. And Hillhugger, always a pleasure, man. And Blaster Master, haven't seen you for a while, and it's really good to see you. I did read your girlfriend's paper, by the way. It was very technical, and a lot of it went over my head, but I did read it. So, yeah, I wanted to start off by sort of, I've had quite a few comments on why are we even doing this? Why are we even talking to religious people? Why are we even sort of making any kind of effort at all? We're not going to change their minds. They're not going to, sort of. It's not going to have an impact. It's not going to change things, So I wanted to go through sort of what I see as some of the changes that have sort of come up. I pulled up a few papers because it really was weighing on my mind, because I mean, maybe call it faith. I don't think it's faith. I think there's evidence that what us online atheists do, and I'm not saying that suddenly what I'm doing is going to change the world or something, but I think that what we do is important, and what we do is actually making some sort of difference somewhere, because things are changing. So I want to go through this. This is from the Pew Research Center, which, if you're unaware of Pew Research, it's a sort of very neutral statistics-based center that just do pure statistics. They just take the readings. So this is the projected up to 2070. So they've gone and extrapolated upon current trends to how much people will believe and disbelieve, and these are the two groups that are most changing in the United States. So it's projected by 2070, even under the most sort of stringent circumstances, even with scenario 4, no person in America changed or will change their religion after 2020. It's still down to like just over 50% from over 60%. So sort of the scenario 3 is the best case for atheism. Basically, it's disaffection without any limits. No cap is imposed on switching rates. Basically, it shows that Christianity will dip below 50% under 3 scenarios out of 4, and the only one is if nobody switches or changes their religion by 2070. So if you follow this out to its extrapolation, people will be changing, kind of thing. And other religions will be rising or just staying about the same, but it's really Christianity that's going down, and not unaffiliated or atheism that's going up. Now, to be fair, unaffiliated does mean sort of no sort of affiliation with any religion doesn't necessarily mean atheist. They just might not have an affiliation and maybe sort of spiritually religious, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's sort of that. If you think that the sort of you hear the rhetoric that atheism is dying and Christianity is going to be getting bigger, and there's no there's no decline in Christianity at all. That I'm really sorry, that's not the case, and it's not like we're really going out of our way. But I want to sort of and this is sort of the Christians, because 1972 it used to be 90% of the country. 90%. And it just it has dropped so massively that it's incredible. And we have to sort of say, hey, it's these atheists that have the new atheists that have sort of said, hey, we're going to disagree with your claims, and we're going to stand up to those claims, and we're going to proffer maybe a better way of doing things, a sort of morale. We can have morality, and we can treat each other well. And it's sort of showing that from the 90% in 1972 down to, without limits to 35%, 100 years later, is a massive decline. So, I guess I wanted to sort of, when I saw a few people saying, "Hey, I don't know why you even talk to these people," that's kind of why. It's not like I'm saying, "Hey, I did all of this myself." Absolutely not. It's just when we present sort of a voice of reason, and we don't sort of say, "Hey, we want to just you know crush you," or whatever. We want to have a productive society, and we present, "Hey, you can be a moral person. You can live a good life. You can be productive and kind, and all of these things, without having the fear of a god looking over your shoulder." I think that's sort of where it comes from. Um, I think that a lot of Christians do live in fear of their god smiting them, or torturing them after they're dead. Um, and they have problems with some of the things in the Bible. I really would like to do something when I've got the time on Rebecca, Bread of Life's thing of God kills babies, but I think that's good kind of thing. I think that was I watched it, and it was just sort of really interesting. I would like to do something on it and talk about it, because that is sort of, do we really, is that really a good thing? I don't know. I'm getting off topic. I'm on a tangent, so forgive me. But I think yeah, but there's also and this is from Pew Research Center again, and this is sort of so yeah. I did some statistical research here, so I really did hammer the statistics. So I do apologize, but this is very recent, April 2023. Most Americans say it's not necessary to believe in God to be moral, but views differ by religion. Now, even though this is a sort of statistical studies that we have looked at here, um, this will surprise nobody. Like, seriously, this surprises. Well, I mean, it surprises none of us atheists. Basically, it just doesn't surprise us that sort of 50-plus-year-olds think it is necessary to believe in God, and not necessary. But the interesting thing is, as people have gotten younger, and I think that's to do with sort of the way that we're presenting ourselves, the way that we're sort of dealing with other religions, and the way that we're discussing things with them. That the younger people sort of not so ingrained, are sort of saying, "Hey, yeah, no, it's okay to be an atheist. You can still be a moral person." While the older generation are saying, "No, you have to be." And as you can see, it's slightly more for 18 to 29 that say, "Hey, atheists, they're fine. They don't have to be." And to drop from 59 to 71% is really significant. That is a statistically significant result, which I guess. I guess a lot of this was really encouraging for me, and I wanted to share it with you, because sometimes it feels like you are sort of you're making a Sisyphusian effort to roll. I love that word. Anyone else love that word, Sisyphusian? If you don't know where that word comes from, Sisyphus was the guy condemned to, in Greek mythology, to push a boulder up a hill, and just as he got it to the top, it would roll back down. So it means an endless sort of, effort kind of thing. Oh, hello everybody. Yeah, I'll call out a few names actually. I'm really in a very, very scattered mood today, aren't I? I must admit. Hello, Nara, Ember. Always good to see you. Tux TV. Good to see you, mate. Big Bad Mama, always a pleasure. Caterpillar, always good to see you. Always good to see you. Yeah, such amazing people in chat. It's so good to see you all. So I was feeling a bit down lately because I did a oh, hey Marty, good to see you. Yeah, much love as well, mate. I did a debate with Bree, and people were just like, "Oh, how dare you question that morals?" And I'm like, "Okay." And I got accused of treating Bree badly, and it's like we're actually friends. Like we might butt heads, but we're really good friends. So of course, Bree, much love, good to see you. Yeah, so don't think that I'm I think Bree gave as good as she got, to be honest with you. Maybe that I'm prejudiced, but Bree, love you, and I'm sorry if I was hard on you, really. I yeah. um you're jealous. Okay, so Nara, that one's for you. Okay, you get a hand hard as well. Yeah, it was interesting. You know what? Brie really made me think. She really made me think about my position, and sort of um it certainly has sort of made me question whether my thing about morality is right. I think that um I think that maybe animals do have a moral system. I'm not 100% convinced. Maybe they do, but very, very rudimentary it would have to be. But yeah, maybe. And that was mostly the bonobo thing. But hey, anyway, what I want to talk about is this: that sort of. So where do people say that it's necessary? And that's down to 34%, which is interesting. That like sort of so that means that three-quarters of people, sort of 65 or so, don't think you need to believe in a god to be moral. So it really is a case of we come across these people on the internet, and they are absolutely like, you are immoral if you don't have a god, pre-sups, I'm looking in your direction. That isn't what most people think, and I think we have to remind ourselves of that the loudest Christians on the internet are not the average Christian out there, that they just think, hey, atheists are doing their best and they're being moral people, and they may believe in different things, but yeah, that's cool. But obviously older people um believe that it's necessary. And this surprises nobody. Like the less education you have, the more you think that belief in God is necessary to be moral. And I think that's sort of telling that if you are less educated, you um you you will think that a god is required. That the more you're educated, the less that you think a god is required. And oh, you did get accused of being hard on me. Oh wow, Brie. Okay, all right. So apparently we're hard on each other. Look, I'll take that as a draw then on harshness. Look. I mean, this is sort of leaning Republican is higher than liberal, obviously, and conservative is the highest of belief that it's necessary to have a god. Of course, it is. This surprises nobody. Um, so leaning Democrats, conservative or moderate is the highest, but obviously, the Republican is way higher than the Democrat. That surprises nobody. Protestants are higher than any other group among the religious. To say that you need a god without you need a god to have morals. But the really weird one here, or the one that I find surprising, is the Black Protestants is actually the highest. They trust us atheists the least. And surprising nobody, white evangelicals are right up there as well. But the other religions are sort of apart from sort of Catholics and Hispanics and stuff, that they're really not that high in thinking that atheists can't be moral. Um, yeah, so yeah, it was really fascinating to see that. Um, and of course, there's a few countries here that say a god is not necessarily moral. That was the US result. Canada, of course, surprising nobody. Some of the higher ones were Greece and Germany. Germany does have a very I have met a few German Christians before, and they certainly are very, very stringent with their beliefs. But some of the low ones is Sweden at 9%. 90% of the country think you don't need God to be moral. Of course you don't. Australia's right down there as well, where I come from. 85% say no God required to be moral. That's fine, which is very heartening for me. And I mean, that might sort of, you go, okay, well, America's really it's twice that amount of people think that it's necessary. But as I pointed out with the other one, things are changing, and they're going to change significantly as we go forward. And the other thing I wanted to share with you was this study. It is sort of an older study now, but it sort of says that a few of their tests that they've done, so prosociality and in-group bias, that Christians consistently demonstrated in-group bias. So they would be more generous to people that were in the Christian in-group, and less generous towards the out-group. And atheists, they behaved impartially towards in-group and out-group members. Essentially, what they did is they treated other atheists the same as any other person. And I think that is sort of indicative of what we see from atheists, that they say, hey, something is right or wrong, and it doesn't matter if you believe in God, whether something will be fair regardless of what you believe. So does that make sort of secular morality better than other people? No, it doesn't. It just means that we sort of go to a more objective, a more sort of secular basis. We say, hey, your religion doesn't matter. If it's fair for you, then it's fair for me as an atheist. Unfortunately, a Christian that this study shows will say, well, I'm going to be more generous to those people in my in-group. I'm going to give them more than the atheist, the out-group. And I think, and the reason why I want to show this is I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't have any reliable evidence for this. I don't really. I don't think it's a coincidence that these things are happening, that we treat our out-group. Bree, don't worry about it. Don't worry. Seriously, don't worry about that comment. I made some comments as well myself. So honestly, don't worry about it. But I don't think it's a coincidence. I think that atheists sort of treating everybody as humans rather than treating everybody as, sort of, oh, well, they're a Christian, I'm gonna, do this or that or the other. I think that's part of the reason why we're sort of being seen more and more as able to be moral. I think it is that being fair to even the people that we vehemently disagree with, being able to listen to them and sort of allow them to make their case even if we disagree, and then push back against that case in a sort of a passionate, but I try to always have a stance of passionate, uncompromising, but sort of try to be respectful. And I must admit, I don't live up to that ideal, but pushing back against that rather than just not allowing them to talk is really what's doing it. That we sort of say, hey, tell me about this claim that you're making, and here's the reasons why I don't believe it. But that doesn't, I'm going to treat you the same as any other human because you are human. Recently, I've been asking for instead of atheism versus Christianity or atheism versus Islam, I've been trying to talk about having debates that are secular humanism versus Christianity, trying to get the idea out there. Because I mean, I don't know if you've got it as atheists. I've got it myself. That people sort of say, "Oh, well, you don't believe in anything," and it's just it's for some reason there seems to be a misunderstanding. Maybe it's intentional, maybe it's not. I have no way to tell. But that atheists, all they think about, all they know, all they try to believe in is just I hate God, I don't want God to exist, God doesn't exist, and that's every day of their life. And it's a misapprehension. As atheists, as much as any person, have beliefs in things. And yeah, they sort of anchor those beliefs in things like science and certain philosophical values like consequences and other things like that. But they do have beliefs in things. I believe in tons of things. None of it is based upon a religious belief or a faith-based belief or beliefs without good, solid evidence for why I believe it. But of course, I believe things, but I think this is why we've got to sort of talk about our other beliefs. What else do we? I love to do morality debates because I can say, hey, I'm not just an atheist. I'm also a meta-ethical relativist. There is a system I can use, and it's kind of sort of talking on the morality front. It's really disheartening to hear the sort of answer to the morality that you're using to ensure or at least attempt to have a good life and to treat others well and sort of have a really good pro-social sort of relationship with others is sort of, well, it's not really morality unless it's sort of an a sort of handed down by a god. And the question's got to be, well, I mean, yeah, if you believe in moral realism, if that's how you're using it, sure, but it doesn't make it not morality. It would be like saying, well, we've got the law that protects us against some sort of injustice or some sort of unfairness in society, and somebody saying, well, it's not real law. What does that even mean? I don't get it. I don't understand that. The law is something we've constructed to allow us to operate and sort of protect and take care of one another. It's as real as it's going to get. And if you don't think it's real, at least it has real consequences. So if you do break the law, there's real consequences for doing that. I'm not sure if that's right or wrong. I just think that it doesn't have to be really real law in order to be legal and the law. But what are we doing, people? What are we doing? We're aimbotting is what we're doing. Absolutely aimbotting. But a few more faces have joined us, and hello to Freak. Welcome to Freak. I think to Freak's awesome. How you doing? Caught in the middle. Good to see you. All the best, my friend. Tim's back again for more. Yeah, I think that sort of absolutely pagans can have morality. I think anyone can have morality. It's just a system whereby you sort of have a standard of social interaction that minimizes conflict and sort of increases the social interaction between people. I mean, I've talked about it before. It's not really something that needs to be the be all and end all handed down. It doesn't have to be absolute. It doesn't have to be real. It just has to allow social animals to work together. Yeah, and we've got moral systems that seem to work. I don't see why it needs to be. And plus, like there's also the fact that nobody can actually show that objective morals are actually objective. I haven't heard a good argument for it yet. So so in and I just think that if you do have a moral system and that works, that's great. But we only form these systems by communication, like talking with one another and disagreeing with one another. That's the thing that Bree and I can disagree. We would sort of it is the conversation that we have about it that allows us to sort of reframe things, restructure things, get ideas swapped between us. It's all good. There's no bad thing there. So yeah, it's really good. I'll just get this typed up and then we can start our first little aimbot. um, but yeah, it's good to see you, Maya. Really good to see you. Oh yeah, it's all good, all good. Um, there's absolutely no animosity at all. Okay, let's do it. I love this time of the week, so let's do it. Um, Wibta. Look, the acronyms of Reddit. I swear they've got their own language. It's Lou the Shepherd. Oh, will I be the asshole? Right, right, gotcha. For not attending my brother's birthday party because I can't bring my dog. Yeah, kind of, I guess. Oh, maybe. I okay. So this is the animal morale, which I'm probably going to get into trouble again. Um, I, 28 female, have a 3-year-old German Shepherd, Lou, who is the sweetest dog I've ever met. She's very cuddly and loving once she's gotten used to you. However, she was abused as a puppy. Aww. And has separation anxiety. Edit, we've been working with a professional trainer. She's been making improvements, but currently leaving her home alone for more than an hour simply isn't possible. Edit, and my brother lives 45 minutes away. A lot of editing. It's hard to gain her trust, so getting someone to watch her on short notice is nearly impossible. The last time I visited my brother, 39 male, and his wife, 42 female, stepped on Lou's tail and quite obviously it hurt. She didn't bite or even try to do so, but she barked quite loudly before running to hide behind me. I asked my sister-in-law whether she was all right, and she said she was, so I didn't think anything else of it. After all, she'd known Lou for almost 2 years before the incident. But when my brother invited me to his birthday party next weekend, he told me to leave Lou at home. And when I asked the reason, he told me sister-in-law thought she was too aggressive to be around the guests. Okay, what? Because you stepped on her tail and she barked at them? I don't. That isn't really. An aggressive response. She isn't, but it's their house, their rules, and I want to respect their wishes. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It is their house. Yeah. So I simply called my usual dog sitter, who told me that unfortunately they weren't available. Anyone else who has watched Lou in the past will also be at my brother's party, so I don't have anyone to watch her. I told my brother I could either A, bring Lou and keep her on the leash at all times, or B, take Lou with me and take turns with my mum walking around the neighbour so I could be able to stay a bit without his wife having to face my dog. Or C, come over with Lou in the car to congratulate him and bring his present but leave shortly afterwards, so I don't want her to be alone in the car for more than 15 minutes. He told me he didn't like any of these options because his wife didn't want my aggressive dog on their property, in their driveway, or their neighborhood in general. I apologized and told him if that was the case, I would not be able to come at all. I think that's fair. I mean, she has presented compromises to the family. I think that they have a right to say, "Hey, we just don't like the dog." I don't think that's horrible or anything. It may be that she has some psychological issues about a dog. Look, I once got like I was walking and some guy was walking by me with a dog, and the dog basically like raised up on its back legs and lunged at me, and the only thing like stopping it from sort of getting to me was the leash, and it was like at a 45-degree angle being held back by this leash. Now, I mean, I don't it did seem aggressive to me. He said, "Oh, he's just mucking around." I don't know that for sure, and I didn't know he was just barking at me. I don't blame the dog for that. Don't get me wrong; that's not the dog's fault. It's the owner that was terrible. But I still think that whether or not your dog is aggressive or not aggressive, if it's displaying behavior that can be misinterpreted as aggressive, it certainly can be. Very intimidating to other people, even if you know that the dog wouldn't actually do anything. If it's displaying behavior that looks aggressive, even if the dog just likes to, roughhouse and, sort of, just sort of play fight kind of thing, it can be misinterpreted. So, and some people do have a phobia of dogs. Some people do definitely have a phobia of dogs. Um, but they've just said, "Hey, then I can't come," and that's here's a couple of um, here's a couple of options. Here's some compromises we can make. If you don't accept that, then yeah, it's fair enough that you don't come at all. He told me he has been disappointed, but especially my sister-in-law has been bombarding me with texts about how selfish for putting my dog before my brother, and that I wasn't. I hate your sister. Yeah, I don't think you are to do that on his 40th birthday. I think I proposed reasonable enough compromises, edit, and because all of them were declined, I don't see what other options I have left than staying home. But in the end, I'd still like the opinions of the unbiased internet strangers to be sure. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I'd call Reddit as unbiased internet strangers. I think maybe um, you're getting internet strangers there. I'm not sure about the unbiased part, but I get what you mean. People that aren't biased by knowing you. I guess that is true. So yeah, I guess I think that she has sort of proposed some compromises. I think that they do have the right to sort of say, "Hey, we're not happy." Um, they're not happy with the dog being there. I think they have every right because it is their property, and sort of the wife doesn't like that dog for whatever reason. That's entirely her perception, and that's okay. But at the same time, you can't really say, "Well, you're terrible for not going to the party," when she sort of said, "Hey, this is the situation I'm in. My dog needs care." So dogs and animals are part of a family. They are a family member. Um, People that minimize that, I don't think they're doing the right thing because they certainly are a member of your family. They're adopted member, but that doesn't mean they're not a member of your family. So people that sort of go, "Oh, you missed this just for a dog," it's like, well, when you say just for a dog, it is definitely a member of the family kind of thing. I don't think just a dog is accurate because it's not just a dog. It's a dog that you've raised, you've adopted, you have brought into your family, you have a relationship with. Um, so yeah, it's definitely not just a dog. So I think that the compromise, if she didn't compromise at all and just said, "Hey, it's my way," or I'm not, but she did all the right things. She tried to compromise and everything, so I'm going to come down on that. um Dogless. Yeah, so is the poster terrible for not going to the party dogless? um yeah, and I mean, here's the thing. What is she supposed to do if she cannot have sort of the normal sitter's not there, and um everybody, she can't get someone to mind her dog, which has needs kind of thing. It's what she's supposed to do, I guess. Okay, so there's the poll. What's going on? Since the dog had no moral system, the dog should be kept at home. No, the dog, yeah, the dog has no moral system, but we do. We do. That's the thing. Like, it's basically in our moral system. So nobody is blaming the dog in this situation for anything. We're not saying, hey, the dog's immoral because it won't go to the party and not bark or not show things that can be interpreted as aggression or aggressive behavior, if that's what it is. No one's saying the dog is immoral for that, or moral for staying home by itself and not you know not being upset. Nobody's saying that. It's our morality that is the system here. Tim had quite the comment in response to my sports mark thesis. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but um, yeah, I agree. Like precepts are like that, Super. I think that not all Christians are like that, but yeah, for those evangelicals that sort of, they say, hey, if you don't have God, you don't have morality. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I completely and utterly agree. Okay, let's see what we got here. What are the unbiased random strangers saying? You cannot be forced to abandon pet. You cannot force people to be around him. Yes, I agree. Maybe a walrus. I think you are the walrus. Definitely agree. Calling a dog aggressive when all it did was bark while she was standing on its tail. Yeah, I don't think. I think if you stand on a dog's tail, it's going to bark at you. You know, I no, I really think that's a normal reaction. I don't have a tail, but if somebody stood on my tail, like stepped on my tail, I'll probably have something to say about it. Many guessed is a wise decision. Yeah, yeah. Not all people are comfortable. That's true. Some people get very, very afraid of big dogs. You might not like it. You might think that it's an overreaction. You might think, but that's the way it is. And if you are in your home, and you are afraid by big dogs, that's making someone afraid in their home. That there's no reason to do that. But then again, if you can't find someone to mind that dog and you're sort of saying, hey, I can't because, we can't have the dog over there, that's fair enough. I hear that story I wonder if this is even true. I feel like almost everybody that knows a dog of uncertain origin, especially clues, must have been abused for one reason or another. Um, I don't know. I think that more dogs are abused than you would think, though. Like, sort of, I think that a lot of dogs are sort of treated as they're treated very badly. They're treated as sort of a tool or a toy or an object, a thing, without emotions, kind of thing. I think that a lot of dogs are abused. People get them and sort of just don't treat them well. Yeah, and I mean that's sort of anecdotes. This wouldn't be "Am I the asshole we didn't fill in the blanks with our fan fiction," would it? Yeah, yeah. No, I get you, Zeta. I'm going to upvote that because a lot of people do just go, "Hey, hey, look." You can only really take the what people say. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree, Hill Hugger. Not everybody likes dogs. Um, Well, yeah, yeah, and I think that study sort of backs that up, that atheists will treat other people, people in their outgroup like polytheists better than Christians will. So I think that sort of study backs that up, that atheists will go, okay, well, you don't believe the same thing I do, but I'm still going to treat you fairly, just like I would another atheist. Whereas Christians seem to go, well, you're not part of my group, you're not a Christian, so you don't deserve as good a treatment as somebody who is in that group, so that they will treat other Christians better. No offense, thinking the reading of the post that may sort of bias the poll question. Okay, well, no, that's fair enough. No, that's fair enough. Well, here's the thing, Sapre. If I'm not going to input what I think, whose view? Like, if I don't put in my view of what's going on, whose view am I going to put in? Um, a lot of this is sort of um a lot of it's up to interpretation. And I said, like, the context is always so important in these things. But if I'm not evaluating it with my perspective, whose perspective am I going to use? Look, Maya, I want a rational, reasonable perspective. Okay, I don't want a perspective that's just, I want something that's a perspective that is rational and reasonable. Gotcha. Got him. Um, some people are nervous around dogs. Just because you're nervous around dogs doesn't mean that it's the dog, though, and it doesn't mean that it's the person. Oh, citation needed, please. Citation needed. Yeah, I think Reddit sort of, here's my dog experience, and that's, yeah, been bored. Yeah, okay. There's nothing in the OP space. They're an owner with a blind spot. It's perfectly believable. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I didn't. That's fair. I don't. I don't think they're making it up. It's separation anxiety with setting. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. People who want to make this, even professionals won't take this dog or ignoring OP's indication lineup. Look, I think she made a really reasonable, a reasonable um effort to sort of, yeah, yeah. I think everyone's agreeing that she's got the right to um she's got the right to not go. They definitely have the right to say, hey, the dog can't come to this party. She's got the right to say, well, that's okay, but unfortunately I can't come either. It's not like she's using it as an ultimatum. She provided some compromises. And here's the thing: like, it's just a birthday. Like, really, it's not that big a deal. I maybe it's just me, but I don't take offense if someone can't come to a birthday party, kind of thing. It's kind of, well, they miss out. Maybe it's because I don't have a lot of friends and everyone hates me, but Maybe that's it. Maybe she just doesn't put the. I'm putting stock in just one day that you were born. It's not that big a deal. Like I get it. It's cause for a celebration, and it's good to. It's always good to celebrate. It's just good to celebrate being alive. But if someone can't make your birthday party, it's not a personal offense against you. Um, yeah, maybe it's just me. I don't take it like that. I don't get that offended. I think if I mean, I've only got one sibling. I think that if my brother didn't call me or something, or at least sort of say happy birthday, that's fine. But if I was having, people round and he can't make it, that's fine as well. Um, my brother is a police officer, so his shifts are all over the place, sort of, at all times. So yeah, but if you can't make it, I don't take offense. It's fine. Um, maybe that's just me. You were invited to the party. You can politely decline for the party. I've not been on vacation for 4 years because I have a large house dog. She doesn't do too well in hot weather. She's okay with my in-laws, but starts to hunt to us after a few hours. Dogs are a commitment that you sign up for. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you've got a dog, you've got a commitment. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. You are taking on a responsibility to take care of that dog. Yeah, I think Reddit's on the dog side here. Not even on the people side, just the dog side. Your sister-in-law is correct from you gave three options. Absolutely no. So you and your mum will walk around the neighborhood for hours during the party. This is unrealistic. This manipulative at worst. Why is it manipulative? Because what will happen to you? Your mum and Lou will get tired of walking around. Think Lou is tired. Should be allowed to rest. Drop by the party 15 minutes while leaving Lou in the car. Objectively acceptable. We all know what will happen. People ask to stay, and you'll blame sister-in-law for not allowing them. Okay, well, I think that's a bit of projection there. It's yeah, I think you're sort of saying what will happen. Yeah, I agree with that. They have a right to say the dog's not there. You have a right to stay at home. That's fine. Your sister-in-law in the neighborhood. I think, yeah, I think that's sort of on the property. Okay, how did you go on the good old, you know? Yeah, okay, not moral animal. No one is terrible as the other option that was high up on the list. Yeah, okay. I agree. I agree. Thanks, chat. I agree. I'm glad this one came up. Actually, I want to show everybody that I'm not anti-animal in the slightest. Um, Oh, he'll hug it. The dog's got separation anxiety. So, some dogs that have been abandoned a lot and left alone a lot, and everybody's sort of just gotten rid of it, they can have horrible separation anxiety. When they do trust somebody, if that person just takes off, they can go absolutely crazy. I've seen a dog like that before. Um, it'll start out with sort of just hunting around the house for the person, and then they can get very, very upset if their human isn't around, kind of thing. Um, and it's hard, and they do get better, but it's sort of it's one of those things that can certainly happen. Yeah, right, Isani, definitely neglect. Yep. Hi, Ozzy Gold. Good to see you. If you have a sweet bouncy castle, and people don't show up, it's definitely their loss. Yeah, absolutely. Although I think recently in Australia somebody got sued for having a bouncy castle and someone hurt themselves on the bouncy castle. So maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's your loss. You inadvertently summon P-Town. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Make it sound like you summoned a demon. Well, no comment. No, yeah. Yeah. It's just that yeah. I think that if she could go, and like if for instance, if the sitter was available, right? If her usual dog sitter was available, this wouldn't be a problem. It would just be, yeah, you take the dog trusts that sitter, the sitter will be with the dog, you go to the party, and not nothing is a problem. That's it. Um, so it's just that none of the options that she had were available for the care that she wanted to give a dog. Bulky description 556. Yes, it is. It is. Am I the asshole for getting my fiance? Where did I get that from? My fiance a ring on a chain. A ring on a chain. No. I mean, no. I, 29 male, wanted to propose to my girlfriend, 28 female. She's a nurse, so she can't wear rings at work. That is true. They snag on stuff. Nurses can't wear rings. I found that out. Yeah. I want to give her something she'd keep with her all the time. I work as a graphic designer, so I designed a ring and chain I thought she would really like. The ring is in a style she's worn before with a diamond as well as opals, which are her favorite. The chain is fairly small and sturdy, made of stainless steel core with alternating gold and silver links over the top, so it's stronger. Look, just from the amount of thought that they've put into this already, they seem like a really nice guy. Like there's a diamond. I'm presuming it's an engagement ring as well as opals, which he knows are her fate. Like he's putting a lot of thought into this. The clasp of the chain is invisible, and the ring can be clipped on and off and the ring can be clipped on and off the ring without having to take the chain off. Did you mean the chain clipped on and off the chain without having to take the chain off? Probably. I made it so she could turn it and hide the clip so she could wear the chain separately from the ring as well. Okay. I thought it was really cool and I proposed on Sunday at the park after Mother's Day. Yay! There was no one else around to see it. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. It's nice that you're outside and at the park. It's beautiful. I proposed in sort of a natural setting as well. It's really nice. She was initially excited when she saw it and immediately said yes. However, when she pulled it out and saw the chain attached, she accused me of trying to prank her. What? Why? And wouldn't hear a word edgewise. She was yelling at me and crying, and I felt horrible. I tried to explain, and she shut me down and went back to her mother's. Now she won't talk to me, and I don't know what to do. Am I the arsehole? Did she take it as like he was giving her a chain, like I'm chaining you up or something? Is this like an overreaction to your perceived what they're sort of saying? I mean, just take the chain off. And he won't let me explain, hey, this chain is so you can wear it at work. And I thought of you. I I can't, I don't get that. Okay. Hmm. Uh so I guess what the significance for her is that maybe she took it as, hey, I'm chaining you up as my wife. I I don't understand that reaction though. Um I don't get that one, and sort of not to let him explain after, and I really feel for this guy, put in, like, a ton of work and, um yeah. Um, that's weird that, like, he put in a ton of work and, um yeah. Oh, that's really cool, Hill Hugger. That's cool, man. Mount Threadbow is like a really cool mountain over the eastern states. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, bro. Absolutely. Yeah, okay. That's weird. That's just weird. Give her time to calm down and understand before throwing out the relationship. Well, no one's saying he's throwing out the relationship, but no, you definitely weren't the asshole. Like, seriously, what the? You definitely were being a good guy. That reaction plus she's a nurse. What's being a nurse got to do with anything? What's wrong with being a nurse? Nothing, unless you're a nurse with a hair trigger, then you're a liability with patient care. Well, I think you're like, you're taking a lot into that. Same with our field artillery. We couldn't wear rings, hence our caught with its artillery guys completely fake. Yeah, because if the ring gets caught on something, you can rip your freaking finger off. Yeah, there's a few professions that you can't wear a ring. Like, I don't wear a ring. When you shouldn't wear a ring while doing electronics, because if you put current through it, you can have a real bad time. You can burn yourself quite badly. There's a few professions that you don't wear rings. In fact, quite a few professions that you don't wear rings. Rings aren't exactly that great for your fingers in the first place. Like, they're just not. If you work in any sort of heavy industry or any kind of industry, um, rings aren't necessarily a good thing to have. They can be a really stupid idea. If you work with electricity, generally having a ring is definitely not a benefit. I'm not a nurse, but I do work with children. For better or for worse, I can confirm it's possible the endless patient, your professional life, then inadvertently less the stress and emotions below. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think that makes her a bad nurse. Definitely not. Every nurse. Okay, relax. People telling people they're a nurse in every conversation. Look, people are different. Like, get her a toe ring, get her a nose ring. How about that? Get her a nose ring. Yeah, I don't think he's done anything wrong though. I mean, even if she has had thinks that he was making a commentary on her freedom or her chaining her up or whatever, that's not his fault. If you left someone to a human reaction, you'd be alone forever. Yeah, nobody's. Oh, if I was OP, I'd be out. Yeah, no, I don't think that's a reason to sort of dump her, kind of thing. Yeah, I kind of agree with the people who are going, hey, just wait for her to calm down and explain. How long do the 28 deserve to calm down over a misunderstanding? Yeah, well, I mean, it depends, doesn't it? No, I think that was the problem, Bree. He didn't try to give her bugs. Everyone knows that if you're proposing, you need to get a bug. That's what everybody knows. Everybody knows that. Dude, take it back. I don't think she took it. Did she take it? Like, yeah, this is the thing. Like, it's okay, like, refuse a proposal, but I don't think you should take the ring if you're not saying yes. Yeah, I don't think she took it. Just give her a microscope. Yeah, maybe. Yes, the necklace and the ring could be worn separately. Yeah. Yeah, so it's not like you didn't have like an engagement ring. I joke, but not prank. I don't get malicious. Never do something like this. No, I mean, if she wanted to pick out her own ring, then she wouldn't have been delighted that he'd got her something. Call her mum. That's actually not too bad an idea, actually. But I think this is more implied for our relationship advice. Oh, I'm not going. I'm not following that link. Come on now. Look, it's like I get that people like do need relationship advice, but sometimes asking the internet for relationship advice isn't the best. And again, sometimes asking the internet for moral advice isn't the best, and that's exactly what we're doing here. So you know, I thought it'd be nice to see the whole thing together instead of the chain feel like an afterthought. I also wanted to see what she thought of the whole thing put together, so I knew if there was anything to change. Well, I mean, she doesn't have to have the chain on it. Even if it didn't come off, like 2 seconds with a pair of pliers that would just get the chain up. Come on now. A brother has a habit of it. Do you pull pranks on her often? It was just a prank. If she heard this phrase from before, her reaction might be understood. Her brother has a habit of nasty pranks. We haven't spoken to him over a year though, so didn't think about it till now. Maybe communication is key. You know what? I'm going to upvote that just for that. Absolutely, communication is key. Thought it was a real proposal, but some gotcha moment instead. Yeah. No, it's not insane. Stop calling people insane just because they're sort of they've had bad experiences. Doesn't no, it doesn't make them insane. Reddit, stop. Not everybody's insane because they overreact or get the wrong, get a wrong error of judgment or something. Like the psychologists I know, they don't even call people, insane or crazy or anything like that. It's just yeah. I don't know. It's kind of too many people are like too quick to go. Oh, that person's got mental issues. Like, no, they're just human. Just leave. Don't stop calling people insane. If a man had thrown a tantrum, pulled the silent treatment on the partner, well, no, they wouldn't be calling it toxic. They'd be going, "What's up with him? That a chain freaks him out." Red flags. Should have given her the ring as normal, then putting it on the finger as the main part of the show. What show? There was no one else there. I get what you mean. Afterwards, here's a chain for work. Not the arsehole. Dumb, but not. Yeah, I don't know if it's even that dumb. He thinks, yeah, she probably thinks he pretended to propose and then he was just having a laugh, but he's not. Rethink your relation. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, I think he's fine. Like whatever else, he's fine. He's been very, I think he's absolutely fine in what he's trying to do. I think he's being a really nice, thoughtful guy. Even if she took it the wrong way, or even if he did the wrong thing by sort of triggering her in some way, he's still trying his best. He's still being morally right. Wow. All right. That was weird. Does anyone else think that's weird? I think that's weird, but I guess I've seen people like overreact on other things before. So, you know, yeah, I mean, ideally, Brie, like, yes, give them separately. Yeah, I agree as well. It probably would have been the better thing. I also made this so you could wear it at work. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I agree, but a lot of things we do, we don't see it like that. You know, hindsight is a great thing, but it is hindsight. Um, uh, like, yeah, but I think that she's being hard on him by not allowing him to explain why. You know, sure, be mad if that's something that you know you're so there's the thing about anger, like it's valid, it's always valid, there's always a valid reason, but you may not be being the most rational kind of thing when you're doing it, but you know the reason may not be a good one, but it's always a valid emotion because it always tells you something. Um so why is she angry? Really, the question is what has made her afraid, kind of thing. Has she been in another relationship that somebody was controlling? Has she been in a relationship where someone used symbolic chains to make her subservient? Has her brother done something that is sort of um makes her triggered like that? We don't know. That's the whole point, and that's why sort of keeping those lines of communication open is so important, so important. Because you don't know what she's going through, and I think that if he could get the chance to explain, it'd be really good. um Situation currently. Hello. Am I the arsehole for letting my daughter keep her sketchbook at my house after her mum looked through it without permission? Oh, look, I think that somebody's art, if you don't want somebody looking at it, then they shouldn't look at it. Nobody should have the right to go throughout somebody else's art. Um, well, yeah, that's a good point. That's actually a good point, DeFreak. You know, does she have thing about change because of slavery and black people? We don't know. It doesn't say, so we've got no idea. If her if the guy is white and the girl is black, that may be a reason. We've got no way to tell though. You know, it may be a reason though. That's a very good point. Look, okay, um, my wife, the lovely Lynn, who I love and adore, she actually does writing. She writes novels and stuff. Sort of not that successful, but she's really good at it, and she writes things. She will not let me see one word of it until she's happy with it. And I would never, ever go in to look at her work without her permission. No way. That is her art and her thing. Um, you don't go and um, look at somebody else's art if they don't want you to. That's really personal. That's more personal than a diary, in fact. That is really personal stuff. Novels? Yeah, novels. Don't you read, Tim? Come on. My name is Mark Reed. Like, if I didn't read, it would be incredibly ironic, I think. I think that would be very ironic. Um, okay, so to start, I have 50-50 custody of my daughter, 12, Claire, 12 female, with my ex-wife, Jessica. Jessica is married to Chris, 40 male, who has two kids, Addie, 7 female, and Luke, 10 male. Claire spends 1 week at my place, 1 week with her mum. Sunday is the swap day. Fair. 2 weeks ago, Claire had a huge fight with her step-siblings. Apparently, they snuck into her room while she was away and went through her stuff, breaking some of her very important items in the process, and Claire screamed at them when she found out. Jessica and Chris wrote off Addie and Luke's behavior as kids would be kids. I disagree. I think Addie and Luke needs a reality check for their behavior. How old are they? 7 and 10. Yeah, they're young, but old enough to kind of be responsible for not going into their siblings' room and breaking things. I think that they do need to understand that I think they need to understand that if that someone went into their room and broke things, that they would be upset, and they can extend that to their sibling. However, they said Claire's reaction was over the top and a sign that there's something wrong with her. Really? A 12-year-old getting upset because their siblings broke some stuff in their room? I don't think that's over the top. Jessica decided that she needed to find out what's in Claire's head. Wow. Okay. And so she confiscated Claire's sketchbook, which Claire uses to get her feelings out, and went through it. That is such a breach of trust. Oh my. No. Why would you do that? Why, instead of talking to her and sort of saying, hey, we love you, and we want you to be happy, and we're worried about you, instead of going behind her back, going through her private stuff. Apparently what she found was disturbing. Claire has showed me her sketchbook before, and no, it isn't, and took Claire to a psychologist for evaluation. Look, if you're doing a sort of a journal or an art book, or even just a stream of consciousness about your thoughts, bad stuff's going to be in there. The reason why is because everybody has bad thoughts and bad, horrible things to their personality, and everybody has that darker side. Everybody does. It's pointless to try and say, oh no, I have no bad thoughts at all. No, I've never had any kind of, no, we're all human, just accept it. Wow. Spoiler alert, they didn't find anything. My daughter is completely mentally healthy, save for surprise stress from her step-siblings. Yeah. Because just because you do art and put some, skulls in the art, or you do some art about death, or you do some art about some sketches with some blood in it or something, it doesn't mean that you're mentally unhealthy. I don't understand where this comes. Like, okay. Yes, there is unhealthy amounts of focus upon certain things. Like, you can have an unhealthy level of focus on death, or on certain things that is unhealthy, especially if it leads to sort of ideation that you shouldn't be having. But that doesn't necessarily mean, just because there's some dark things in some notebooks or journals or novels or whatever, it doesn't mean that is intrinsically indicative that you have a mental health problem. In fact, the fact that you are dealing with these feelings by putting it in a journal or putting it in a sketchbook means that you are dealing with those feelings. You are expressing them in a way that is healthy. So what the silly thing about this is, they're not only completely breaching their daughter's trust, to say, hey, to have the notebook around without you say, hey, look, my wife can leave out all the stories she wants. She can leave it anywhere. I will not look at it. I will not. I will not look at somebody's diary. I will not look at somebody's journal. I will not. That is a breach of their trust. And if I want people to respect my boundaries and the things that I hold to be important, I have to do the same for others. So, but not only has she breached that trust of her daughter, making it so because it won't stop her daughter from doing her sketches and her art. If she thinks it will, she's, and she probably doesn't think that, but she wants to know what's going on. You don't get to know what's going on in somebody else's mind. They can share with you, but you don't demand that they share with you their innermost thoughts. I'm sorry, you don't have that right. And I'm looking at you, religious people. I'm looking at you. But not only that, but all you're doing is teaching her to suppress what emotions that she's got, to not articulate them in the form of art or in the form of writing them down. Yeah, I know. I'm not taking all the advantages in life that I've got, Sapra. I know. That's yeah. I know. I just I've never claimed to be an intelligent person. Um Yeah, anyway, I got Claire last Sunday and she spent the first few hours with me holed up in her room, sketching, I think. You know what? You should encourage this. Why wouldn't you encourage something that she loves so much? Why? Like some of the art things I see on YouTube shorts are so amazing. Like I wish I had that level of talent that they have. I certainly don't, as you can clearly tell from all of my videos. But why wouldn't you encourage that? At dinner, she told me what happened, and I surprised her with a pancake breakfast the next morning. Make it, oh, what a guy! What a champ! Before I gave her back to Jessica, Claire asked me to keep her sketchbook at my house so her mum wouldn't look through it. I said yes, and she went over to her mum's place without it. Like, I can understand why Claire did that. Poor girl. Yeah, that sucks. But she's a private person. Yesterday, I got a check from Jessica. She said that she was worried that Claire forgot her sketchbook because when she went to confiscate it, it wasn't where Claire usually keeps it. Okay, Jessica, just stop. Seriously, stop. Of course it isn't there because you keep looking at it. What is wrong with these people? I said that the sketchbook was with me and I decided to keep it because I didn't want it confiscated again. I didn't want to throw Claire under the bus here. In hindsight, lying probably wasn't the best idea. Yeah, maybe not, but you're trying to protect your daughter. That's understandable. She said that I was being an asshole because she has a right to her. No, you do not. Stop. No. You don't have a right to anybody's mind. You don't have a right to what they think about you. You don't have a right to what they think about anything. You do not have a right to your daughter's mind. No. I said that I was worried because of how she handled it last time she went through it. She restated her previous point and I did not respond. It's been a day since the conversation and I'm starting to question my choice. Do not question your choice. Do not question your choice. I don't think anybody has a right to know what's in the mind of another person. That's not a right that you have. You can extrapolate on their behavior, sure, but you don't have a right to know what's in somebody else's head. You can't say, hey, you have to tell me what you think of this. Of course they don't. Of course they don't. If they don't want to, that's fair. I don't. Where is she getting this from? Like, she has a manual on bad parenting that she's busting out. Like, seriously, what the hell? I have a right to my daughter's mind. No, you have a right to your mind. That's it. Wow. 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 Yeah, I don't think that they do. Um Yeah, I think that maybe lying and sort of saying, "Hey, it was my choice," instead of, "Hey, our daughter's really upset because you looked through her private belongings." I don't understand why the mother Jessica here can't apply some empathy and go, "Well, if someone looked through my private diary or my private thoughts, I would be really upset." Like, what makes you think that a child is going to, you know, be fine with that? And the horrible part is that she wants to know her daughter's mind, but what this will do, a breach of trust like this, probably means that her daughter will be less willing to share with her because she isn't trusting that she won't go off and tell a psychologist or something like that. She is actively hurting her own goals here. I don't understand it. She's actively The mother is actively working against what she wants. Because if you want to know your daughter's mind, the best thing you can do is sort of create a good level of trust between the two of you, and then ask her and have confidence to say that if she is going through something, um, she will share it with you. Yeah, yeah, I agree, Shim. Short-term gains. Yeah, she gets to know what's in the diary, but she does or the sketchbook, sorry. But even if you read the sketchbook, that doesn't tell you what's in your daughter's mind. The only way you can know that is by talking to your daughter. And your daughter won't talk to you if you breach her trust. This is actively working against what you actually want. And your ex has lost her marbles. Yeah, yeah. Document everything. Encourage you to consult a lawyer and petition full custody. That is a lot more trouble than you sort of can put into one sentence. Right to her mind. That's incredibly alarming. It is incredibly alarming. It definitely is. Sort of getting full custody may be a battle that neither of you want to go through. I think that is a lot more that is a lot more effort than sort of the one sentence sort of would lead you to believe. That is a lot there. Being called mental for a skeptic is insane. Well, I'd stop saying insane, but yeah, I don't think some things in a sketchbook give you any indication of the mental state of somebody. I really don't think so. That's a good point, DeFreak. That's where searching through other people's stuff, yeah, they probably did get that from the mum, yeah. I've been sketching my entire life, and I think I'd die if anyone saw my middle school sketch. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you don't look at other people's um, their private expressions of feelings that they want private. If they choose to share with you, sure, but if they're keeping a journal and it's their private expression of feeling, just don't. Like, just don't. If they're happy to share it with you, that's great. That's no problem at all. But if they're not, just don't. And my folks were like this and raised half a dozen kids in mine, my brother's friend group, neighborhood they can trusted. Our house was old, had no AC. We like to watch horrifying horror movies all late as long as we agree to leave the room if it fucks up too bad. Talk to them about made us uncomfortable, and then they'd really talk to us and give us information that we need to process and put it plan. The same when spooky or violent or romantic scenes. You can get a long way as a parent by trusting your kids and treating them like people. Yeah. And remembering how awkward and stupid and scary being a kid was. Yeah, pretty much. My daughter made comic strips character she made up. That's cool. Out of context, that'd be kind of disturbing, but it's actually a very complex character with backstory and development. Yeah, absolutely. And it may be a way to sort of express those feelings, kind of thing. A lot of the time, people see people express things in art and they go, oh, there must be something wrong with that person. No, they're expressing what is human, and we all have these thoughts and these things and these worries and these things happening in our lives that we may not have a lot of control over. And one of the ways that we deal with that is we express our feelings into art and into words, into um, things that are happening, going on the internet and ranting about things. We all do different stuff to deal with these emotions and these things that we go through. um but yeah, FPV, yeah, totally awesome that you encourage that. It's healthy to talk about these things, or to express these things even if you don't share it with somebody. It's healthy. Yeah, you shouldn't be reading people's stuff. You're kind of the opposite. You're not for any. My parents didn't go. Yeah, my parents didn't go through our stuff either. And the idea that anybody, even as a kid, had a right to my mind is not cool. Yeah, those AOL chat rooms were the wild fun. Yeah, they were the Wild West. The classic age, sex, location. Yeah. Did that claim make anyone else think in novel 1984? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, yeah. I have a right to your mind. Yeah, yeah. Person's a right to privacy. Yeah, absolutely. Taking the heat for Claire. Yeah, yeah. Taking the heat for her. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. He's trying to say, hey, it was my choice to keep the notepad here because I didn't like it, kind of thing. Um, I think yeah, he's really. My parents were good. Look, okay, so how to make a good parent, in my opinion. So there's no such thing as a perfect parent. To be a parent, you just have to be good enough. I think parents, they place too much emphasis on being perfect. You're not going to be perfect. No one's going to be perfect, but be good enough. And definitely, treat your children like people, and give them the respect that you want. She hasn't instantly called dad. She waited a week, an entire half day to open up. Oh, there's red flag stuff. Not everything's a red flag, but I kind of think that one is, to be honest with you. I think people overuse red flags, but this is definitely sort of a oof. If they react as strong to be reasonably upset about an invasion of privacy from her siblings, who knows what they will do when she is a moody teenager? The ex's response was to invade her privacy more. Yeah, it's not going to help. Yeah, seriously, that's scary and controlling. Yeah. Why though? If you want to know what she's thinking, why would you do that? I don't understand. I don't understand. Yeah. Yeah, I'm merely perfect. Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot. You're not merely perfect. OP can get Claire another sketchbook, take to her mum's house so she can write some legit disturbing stuff for the sole purpose of freaking the mum out. Yeah, like that would feel good. Yes, hotshot right, that would feel good, but it's not going to help the situation, you know. Yeah, let's not make Claire more of a target. Yeah, exactly. How dare you question your choices? You did perfect. Tell me more about the pancakes. Yeah. Oh, look, every time like Lynn makes me pancakes, I am so happy. Like seriously, there's something about pancakes that makes me happy way more than it should do. Maybe that's not true. Maybe pancakes should make you happy. I really love pancakes. I think everyone loves pancakes. I think the best pancakes I ever had were in Amsterdam though. Like they had these like raspberry and something pancake that were just so good. Like seriously, it's insanely good. Europeans, guys, they know how to make a pancake, like really. Like I'm really sorry, but not this American stuff, but like Dutch pancakes are insane. As an artist, I'm going to say this once: a sketchbook is like a diary. Yeah, I would actually freak out when my family members tried to look through my sketchbooks. It was so personal, despite there not being anything inappropriate. Yeah, you have the right to keep sketchbooks safe. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I'm going to upvote that. I love that. A sketchbook is like a diary. Lemon and sugar. Yeah, I must admit, like my wife makes sort of pancakes, but they're more English style kind of thing. So, but I like she doesn't like maple syrup on it, but I like maple syrup on it. So yeah, I'm in the maple syrup camp, definitely. Well, you know, talk to one. Look, that level of escalation, I would hope you can maybe have a chat to her and talk to her before that. Getting attorneys an escalation that may or may not be appropriate. We really don't know at this point. Please save your daughter from this. Okay. Yeah, I guess it's a lie by omission. I don't have a problem with it. I don't think that lying is necessarily a bad thing. I think that if you're protecting your daughter by saying, hey, it was my decision, so she won't cop flack, I think that's a moral thing to do. I don't think his intentions are bad. I think that he's trying to you know have a 12-year-old girl be treated with some respect. So you know I don't think it's necessarily bad that he said it was his idea. No one has the right to be in your head. Yeah. Could you imagine how screwed up a person would be if someone like let's assume 1984 we developed some mind reading technology, right? If every thought that you had was monitored by someone, could you imagine the level of screwed up a person would be? Like they couldn't think any bad thought at all, or else somebody would realize. Like, I mean, the thing about I have a right to a mind, you know, okay, you're a parent and you're sort of going, well, I'm the parent. I want to know what she's thinking. Yeah, gotcha. You want to know what she's thinking, but like if your daughter, if you could know what your daughter is thinking every second of every day, she'd be a mess. Probably like a lot of the people that think God listens to their thoughts are messes. You know, they're so worried about what they think that a God's going to judge them for what they think. You know, like it's weird. It's not good. Like the idea to have in your head the idea that someone is listening to your thoughts, it's not good. Nothing good comes from it. Nothing good. Well, I don't think anything good does anyway. It's sort of just um yeah. I mean, I've seen religious people beat themselves up, like absolutely beat themselves up for, you know, seeing an attractive woman, or thinking about, that their neighbors have something better than they do. Oh, I was envious of somebody's, lawn or something, and they absolutely slaughter themselves, like just beat themselves up about that thought. That isn't good. That isn't healthy. That isn't a rational thing to do. Just because you have these thoughts doesn't mean that you're doing anything on it. It doesn't mean that it's a permanent thought. You go, oh, well, they've got a good lawn, but I'm working on mine, and we go through these processes of thoughts. If you would get $1 million for eating a crayon, which color would you pick? I don't know. I loaded question. Okay. I'll do one more. I'll do one more. I feel like doing one more. Which color would I pick? I feel like white would probably have the less chemicals in it, but that's probably not true. Like that's just sort of, um, what color would I pick? Definitely not black. I feel like black would like have tons of chemicals in it to make it black. So definitely not black. Um, maybe yellow. I mean, it probably wouldn't be any better for me, but I'd probably feel a bit happier eating it. I don't know. Like, tell me, what's the best tasting color crayon? Because I've never eaten crayons before. You got to eat the wrapper too. Oh hell! All right. Somehow I feel like the wrapper wouldn't be as bad for you as the actual crayon itself. I mean, that's just paper, right? Which is, not that bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not great, but it's not that bad. Um, am I the arsehole prioritizing my wife over my mum on Mother's Day? Maybe. Do you have kids? You do have kids. What? That's a hard one. That's actually a hard one. I mean, it is your mum, so what's the situation? What's the situation? I'm kind of leaning towards a little bit. Parents not too bad for you. You know what? I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. I've never eaten a crayon, and I very rarely use crayons. Just in my professional life these days, I don't have a great cause to use crayons. But I 38 male have been married to my wife, 36 female for 12 years. Oh, good on you. We have two daughters, 10 and 3. We both come from divorced families, and all of our parents have since remarried. Though my mum's second husband passed away a couple of years ago, my wife's parents are no longer local, but my mum and dad both live in the same metro area as us. Okay. I have a very good relationship with my dad and mum, and they are our sole support for helping out with the girls. My mum and I have an up and down relationship as a lot of things over the years. Nothing excessive, annoying stepdad, drug addict brother, grandparenthood not meeting her expectations. My mum also doesn't come by contentedness easily. After years running around and trying to accommodate everybody, lately I don't always put in the effort I should with her because often the effort isn't appreciated anyway. That's fair. So for Mother's Day this year, I wanted to give my wife the day, but I didn't want to pressure her with coming up with a rigid plan. I asked her Friday if she wanted brunch or dinner made and to let me know what she wanted to do with the day when she knew. I mentioned I would take the girls to see all of their grandparents in the middle of the day so she could have the house to herself if she wanted the peace, or we could do something as a family. You are really considerate. That's really good. Again, no pressure, no pressure. Just let me know as we go and I'll make it happen. She tells me Saturday brunch sounds good. So Sunday morning, the girls and I run to the store for supplies, make brunch, set out the gifts. We eat and play for a bit, and the wife mentions I could take the gifts. The girls, sorry, the girls. I call up stepmom, wish her a happy Mother's Day, and ask if she's around. She is, so the girls and I stop by for a visit. Then I call my mum and I tell her I can tell by how she answers the phone she's annoyed. I wish her a happy Mother's Day and ask if she's available for a visit. She is at her sister's for brunch and won't be home until later when the 10-year-old has activities. Fast forward to Monday and I get a text from my wife that my mum has sent a screenshot of my wife's post on social sharing about her day, and she told her she had a terrible day and didn't feel the love from anyone. Wait, wasn't she having brunch with a sister? Okay. So Reddit, no, not really. No, no. I mean, you called her and wanted to come around and visit her, and she was at her sister's. I don't. Uh, okay. What's the guy done wrong? He's tried to visit his mother, and his mother was at her sister's for brunch. You probably should have prioritized your wife. You know, that's your close family now, and you know, yeah, your mum's important, but you put aside time for her. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, DeFreak. My mum won't even talk to me either, but my mum died, so that I can kind of forgive her on that one. But um, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. I really am. Um, yeah, I don't like. I don't blame him for um spending time with his family, like his close family, his immediate family, I should say. Because I mean, your mum is still your close family. It's just they're not your immediate family. You don't live directly with them. He has a wife. He has children. Um, so I mean, I don't. It's not like he just you know went and spent time with his family, didn't ring, didn't try to contact her, didn't do anything, and he sort of set aside some time that he could visit them, and she wasn't available. That's okay. I don't see him doing anything wrong in that. Um, hmm. I really don't see anything wrong in that. He was considerate. He tried his best. Come on now. Seems upset she didn't send her. Come on, dude. Like you don't know that, but seemed like Grandma herself ever got looped in. Well, yeah, that is a point. Like, he kind of didn't loop her into what he was planning. Nice that he showed up with the grandkids anyway. Yeah, he did try. He maybe should have said, "Hey, we'll be around on this day. Can we organize something?" But at least he tried. I don't think he's an asshole for doing it. The Mothers Union is trying. Hey, ain't that the truth? Yeah, yeah, they absolutely flock together. Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, complain to the wife and not him. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, if she wanted to see him on Mother's Day, oh, come on, Tim. Like, seriously? It's wild to imagine human get so when their kids have family on their own. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you will celebrate with your um family, your close family, your sort of wife and kids. That's in entirely understandable. It's called Mother's Day, not my Mother's Day. Yeah, that's true. I mean, his wife is a mother. To be fair, he did the same thing to his stepmother. Well, yeah, but he did visit them, but he wanted to visit his mother as well. He wanted to visit both, but the mum was busy. He legit called her up for a visit. In the middle of the day on Mother's Day, should have contacted her way earlier, especially when he's bringing the kids. Yeah, maybe. All right, there's a mother fight on in the chat here of Reddit. That's interesting, but sure. If my son didn't put his wife first on Mother's Day, this is her first one, I would feel upset with him. His spouse should come first. Well, yeah, kind of. I don't think he may not have done the best organization, but I don't think he's an asshole. Like that's not true. He's not morally bankrupt. That isn't true. You're assuming a lot about him and his mum. Yeah, this is what Reddit's like. They'll just read one thing and then say, "Oh, his mum obviously had problems with accepting this thing that I've got no basis for, but I'm going to assume it's the case." And I mean, probably the best thing to do would sort of for the mum to say, "Hey," and not contact the wife through her posting of what she did on the day, because then you're just making somebody else's experience just horrible. What you should do is talk to your son and say, "Hey, can we put aside another day?" Like, why does Mother's Day have to be on that day? There's no reason. There's no it's just a day that we've designated. You can like I don't it's weird. It's really weird. Yeah. I just yeah, everyone sucks here except your wife. Plan something ahead of time instead of calling on the day. Yeah, true, but I don't think that makes him suck. I just think he may not be that well organized. Because it worked for his stepmom. He got to visit her. Isn't he prioritized? You didn't do a darn thing for your mum at all. Okay. Yeah, so there's these people that are saying, "Oh, he did nothing," and people that are saying, "No, he's fine," kind of thing. I actually think he's fine. I think that if she's upset about it, like communicating it and saying I'm upset, and then they could say, "Hey, well, next weekend, let's just have a day just for you," kind of thing. I don't see why it's such a big deal. There's nothing special about Mother's Day, like intrinsically or anything. It's just a day that we've decided to designate to keep important as a reminder. But if you do something another day, it's not like it suddenly, it's not like you've lost some kind of magic that happens on the day that makes if you do something with your mother the next weekend, then suddenly the magic vanishes, and you haven't you know you haven't done the necessary sacrifice to Mother's Day, so the magic fades from the world, and your mother will break her back. Come on now, let's be real here. You reached out, she was busy. Yeah. The question should be, am I the arsehole for not communicating to my mother or expecting her to be available at a moment's notice whenever it was convenient for me? Well, yeah, that may not have been the best idea, but I don't think he's necessarily an asshole for that. But is that what she's mad about? That's the whole point. Like, we're just asking what she's mad. If she's mad about that he didn't do anything, then that's not the right question. Yeah, I'm gonna come down on not the arsehole. I must admit, all of these have been not morally bankrupt. Yeah, yeah, and that's the wow, that one's split right across. Yeah, that's a hard one. I get that. I get that he I get that. I get that he could have done more to organize something. I don't see why it's completely. If that was my mum, and she was alive and she was upset that I didn't do something on Mother's Day, I would just say, hey, well, how about this weekend we just go do what you want. We have watch movie, or go to your favorite cafe or whatever you want. I don't, but my mother didn't have that superstition, or that sort of what is it, that kind of traditional mindset about, oh well, that's Mother's Day, so it has to happen on that day. I think that um it's the action, not the day itself, that is the thing that is important here. So I don't see why they couldn't have done that. But I mean, I'm being reasonable again. Why am I being reasonable? Terrible, terrible. I keep being reasonable. I don't know why I do it. Don't know why I do it. Keep being reasonable. Well, that last one was interesting. I think that was really close, though. It's really, really hard to say. And I get if you completely disagree, and that's okay. We can disagree. We can still respect one another. Um, and so, yeah, that was the last one I was going to do. Thank you so much for joining me. I always enjoy these. I always enjoy them. Maybe it's because I get to speak about ridiculous stuff for a short period of time, and I don't have to speak about religion and evolution and stuff like that. But what have I got coming up? I don't have much in the future. I do want to maybe do something on Rebecca's thing, Bread of Life's thing, as I mentioned earlier. I think that would be really, really cool, because she had a number of thoughts that I could certainly discuss and sort of say, well, why would we accept the death of babies as okay if a god does it? I think it was very interesting. So I might, depending how I feel, but by tomorrow morning, I should be able to say whether I'm doing something on that. If I do it, it'll probably be tomorrow night or Friday night, maybe. Thursday night, I actually have a interview with Nathan, who is the flat earther, not Nathan Thompson, not Nathan Oakley, the nice Nathan, the young Nathan, who is a nice guy. So I'll confirm that, put it up as soon as possible. And apart from that, I should have some debates coming up. and hopefully they can be. I'm trying to get one on evolution on modern day debate. That would be great if I can do that, because I love that subject. And maybe some coming up on standing for truth, of course, with good old Donny Deals. And that might be against McQueen, which made the geology session that I had very, very interesting. But I'll have to see what happens, and I'll keep everything on my community tab as per usual. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to be kind to yourself, especially if you are putting your deepest, darkest thoughts into diaries and things like that. Understand that everybody has these thoughts. Expressing them is important. Coming to terms with them is important. Be kind to yourself on that. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing horrible about you. You're not your darkest thoughts. Everybody has them. It's okay. It's fine. Be kind to yourself, but also be kind to others. Don't read their diary. Don't read their sketchbook. Don't look at the pictures that they're expressing their innermost thoughts about. Don't do that. Be kind. Don't just put it to one side. You don't have to know anybody's mind. I think that's the one that struck me the most, actually. Like, I have a right to their mind. Nobody has a right to anybody else's mind. It just no. You can, Tapioca Wizard, you can put your deepest, darkest thoughts in the side chat. However, be aware that people will read them, and if you're cool with that, that's fine, as long as they're not insulting or offensive or anything like that. Sure. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Much love, and do take care. Oh yeah, and if you can hit like, it really helps me out. If you want to subscribe, if you do want to see more debates and discussions and things. Till next time.